minutes. Any person interested in a public comment that can't attend should email publicmeeting@rockyhillconnecticut.gov or ct.gov prior to 4 p.m. on the day of our meeting. Nobody is present. Anything on Zoom? Nothing on Zoom.
I would like to amend the agenda, make a motion to amend the agenda to cancel the executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Approval of minutes.
I cannot
Special meeting, May 14th. I think only myself and Councilor Manuel were there.
I'm trying to, when, that was May 14th?
You were there.
I was. Okay.
Yeah, said in here it was,
Okay.
yeah.
Motion to approve the special meeting, May 14th, 2025.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstention.
Abstain.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting on June 24th.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye.
One abstention.
Okay. All right, moving on to discussion community gardens, Rock Hill Community Farm, community gardens. Dave's here tonight.
Yes, Dave Pomberg, filling in for Steve Soplak tonight. He fell ill coming back from vacation. A bunch of them tested positive for COVID, so he went to the bullpen.
Good to stay home.
So I submitted a memo to Steve to go out in the packets. We had been having discussions about the water situation, and a lot of residents expressed interest in having water provided. So looking at what options we have. We have 2 wells out there, one shallow well, hand-dug well, and one drilled well. When the Phase 2 assessment was done on the site for the remediation, the drilled well was tested and was basically found to be clean. And you had found out from the former owner the approximate depth and yield of that well is pretty decent. So, one issue is to use that well just for agricultural purposes, meaning no one has no contact with people or potential to be consumed as drinking water, non-potable water. That puts us on the edge of a fine area with the Department of Public Health at state level. And anywhere you have a well servicing more than 25 people, it's considered a non-transient water supply system. So basically, you form your own water company, and you have to meet the same requirements as a water company with quarterly and annual testing of the water, which is done by a third party and lab. And that's forever. That goes on each year, and there's money associated with that. The small part of it would be connecting that well to the barn, and we would obviously need power to run a pump. And there's some cost associated with that. Another option was to connect to public water. The nearest public water is on New Road. Connection to that's the MDC. Connection to that based on MDC's information. There's number one. There's an assessment that they charged a property, and that's based on frontage. And this property has extensive frontage. We have a little over 3,500 feet of frontage, and that works out to about $334,000 just for the assessment. That's not the connection. That's not the service line. Nothing. That's just the assessment. So I had some discussions with someone in utility services at the MDC, kind of asking what other farmers, in the town serviced by MDC, what they do. And they said, well, it varies. It varies site by site. And in some cases, the MDC has only charged the assessment on the minimum frontage for a residential lot in that zone. Mm-hmm. So this being the R40 zone, it'd be 150 feet of frontage that you'd be charged on. He then mentioned that in some instances they waived, either a portion of the assessment or the assessment entirely. So with that, if you have public water, the whole issue of testing quarterly and annually and the costs that are associated with that are gone. Their water is tested, and then that also allows us to use the water in the barn for the future bathroom in there. You know, if we went the other route with a well, using that bathroom, that puts us into that non-transient system. So, I did speak with, the town manager, and he's trying to, initiate have a conversation with our MDC commissioner, try to get a meeting set up, so we could start a dialogue on that to see, what our options are with the MDC, cost-wise. So I think that would be the most reliable avenue. At least find out what the costs are, and then we can, firmly compare it to the well costs. And, as far as that testing goes, the Department of Public Health can change their mind at any time and require additional testing, which more costs.
On drilled wells or on both?
Pardon me?
Just on drilled wells?
Just the drilled well,
Okay,
right.
yeah.
And the hand dug well, we're gonna have to abandon that. We do that through the health department. That's not a big deal. If we were to connect to the MDC water, we would have to abandon the drilled well also.
Okay.
That they require that. If you connect to their system, they don't want any chance of cross-contamination with their water. So that's, the numbers involved, if we can get that assessment down, I think it'd be our best option.
Just something when they do talk about that, if we do have a bathroom in there, do we have to hook up to the sewer line? Or can you put a
No,
septic tank?
what we're looking at is a holding tank.
Okay.
Thinking a
You could
holding
do that.
tank that would be, pumped out semi-annually or, whatever we need, quarterly or annually.
Okay. I was just thinking ahead, if you're gonna talk to MDC, we could try
Yeah,
for
well,
that
as
too.
far as the sewer, if we went to sewer, then it'd probably involve a pump, and for the amount of use that the building's gonna get, you're gonna have a few
Right.
events. Typically, the portalet that's there now would be adequate.
Correct, yeah.
But if we have a bathroom, it'd be better to have a nice bathroom for handicapped people or older people who are more comfortable using a bathroom in the structure than going into the portalet.
Okay.
Did
But I think I did talk with our local health district, and they were open to the use of a holding tank.
Okay,
Did
good.
the house have a septic?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
But it was uphill at that, I'm sure, right?
It was right below the house,
Yeah, so,
not, well, below below the wells.
yeah, good. Questions, comments?
No, that was good.
Sounds good, yeah,
I mean, the MDC seems like
right.
our only real option at this point.
Well, I mean,
That's
actually,
Dan.
yeah, one question I have is, over the next 12 months, are we putting a budget of comparing between the well and MDC, like 150,000, let's say? That's our max.
Well, I haven't prepared any budget. I'm trying to get numbers so that we can.
can, okay.
And I think the first step is to have that dialogue with the MDC to get firm numbers so we know what we're talking about. Right now, I'm assuming the worst with that assessment.
Well, yeah,
It won't happen.
Yeah, the worst won't happen, but if we got it at 150 feet,
Okay, what's that come up?
it's 14,250.
Okay. Man,
But
it won't-
they may even waive that. They were talking about
Right.
waiving that. But say it's 14, let's say, instead of worst case, let's say viable case, right? 14 might be viable,
Right. I agree.
especially for what we gain for 14,000.
Sure.
Versus the 334,000
I
that we're
think that the
staring
peace
at.
of mind
Yeah.
of being on the public water, if anybody
yeah.
that has any
Good.
concerns with what went on formerly on the property, that
Right.
takes that concern right out of the picture.
Correct.
Good idea.
Yeah. And then plus the ongoing cost of the water would just be the cost of the water, right?
Right, and they do have a
Like a reduced
fixture that you can put on a timer so that it can only run for so long or run between certain hours, so we don't have to worry about kid going down there and turning it on at night and
Good
letting it
idea.
run.
That's good.
Right.
I think that would be worth investing in also.
Yes.
I couldn't agree more.
Good idea.
Right, right.
That's good.
That's pretty good information for now. How
Sure
quickly
is.
do you expect to hear back from them?
Not sure, that's out of my hands, but
Yeah.
I think the initial meeting, in speaking with our commissioner to find out who we need to set up a meeting with, that hopefully that happens quick, and then, and if they might be very open to it. They have been, they've helped out other towns, so.
Nice.
That's a huge plus if that can happen.
Right, and I think
Great.
it helps them, makes them look good if they partner with the community on it.
Sure.
We'd pat them on the back, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Ladies, any questions?
Chris
Comments?
has got his hand up.
Okay. Do you have any
What's that?
questions, comments, you two?
The only thing that I have a little concern with is if you're piping water into the barn, are we gonna pipe it a little further out to the community gardens and put a hydrant in so that the gardeners will have access to water?
We haven't planned it out that far, but it would make sense to do one of those frost-free,
Yes.
not a hand pump, but it's a hand faucet,
Yes,
and it's self-draining in the winter, so.
right.
Nice.
And that's downhill from the barn, so we could just shut it off at the barn and let it drain out for the winter.
Okay.
By the way, that does bring up another question. So this would be, like, the extent would be the barn itself and the community gardens. Would the farmers have a need for that? But, we can't pay for that, but
Yeah,
you don't have it now, so.
Correct,
right?
yeah. I
So
don't
You
need
go
it.
by natural water over
We-
there? You
yeah.
have to.
Just the rain.
I
Just rain.
just haul water in
Yeah.
my,
Do you really?
my tanks, so.
Wow, okay.
That's what the former owner did, too.
self-sufficient.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Good. Sabrina?
I think we'd have to consider, though, the fee for it, too. I mean, how the water's used, and should the people that are renting the lots pay a little surcharge for the water part? Just thinking.
Well, in addition to that, like, being with Little League, we assume the cost of cleaning the bathrooms too, so there's
The
a
Little
usage
League
fee.
or?
Little
or-
League assumed it.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons they let us build that on
Ah.
Elmridge Park. And we had to drain it in the fall, in the winter
You
and all
guys
that.
took
Winterize it,
Yeah, winterize it, but we felt strongly about having the bathrooms, so we assumed that cost, or that responsibility, I should
Big,
say.
yeah, nice.
Yeah, but we would have that too, because if people use it or organizations use it, then there's gonna be a need for, again, to
Staff.
Well, there
adhere to
could
the
be
health
a
inspector. yeah.
rental fee or a use fee
Yeah, there should be, yeah.
associated to
Like
cover
the
that.
For the
pavilion even
building,
has one,
yeah.
yeah.
And you see how much water usage there is
Boy, you could
on
have
the
some nice
community
things there.
gardens. Then maybe you have to look at the registration fees for the plots and
True,
adjust. It's
down the
gonna be,
road.
it's gonna be a learning experience the first.
By the
few
way,
years.
having
agree.
water there, we do justify potentially charging a little more anyways,
True,
so,
true.
Right,
for what we got
because it's an
potentially
added
planned.
convenience.
Right,
Good
all
thoughts.
good information, yeah.
Yes. Mr. Duff, you have a comment or question?
Oh, he does, look.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
We do, yes.
Okay, great. I would just recommend that, so I agree with the approach of following through with MDC. Sounds like a great idea. It may still be a certain amount of money, and my recommendation would just be that we try to budget for, or not budget, but we try to prepare enough information where if a grant were able to become available through the MDC, through some other state resource, that we have everything ready to go to pursue that, to help take that pressure off the town budget, if that's something that we can do. I know the state has, put a decent amount of money into that parcel, so if there's a way they can get us across the finish line, that's something that we should be ready for if it does come up. So I'm not sure if, town staff is already planning on doing that, but probably something to keep in mind as we pursue these different options.
Good thought. I think, like Dave says, we got to get all the numbers first and see where we're going to go from there. But that is a good idea.
Do
And
we
you had-
want to comment on the last thing on this memo, the electrical service?
Right, I was going to go to
Oh,
that
I'm
next,
sorry,
yeah. Just discuss the electrical part to the barn.
Yep, so basically, the cost, it's the most economical ways to do an overhead service. to the barn. I don't know if some people have an issue with that, with the aesthetics of it, but financially, it's the cheaper way to do it. Eversource runs it, you know, the town would be responsible for a panel in the barn, the meter, and the mast arm. Eversource connects from the street to that mast arm, and then, you know, electrician does from there down, and anything interior. Facilities does have an electrician. I don't know the workload that he has for all the buildings and stuff, but, you know, that could be an option, and reduce the costs.
Good.
So it's about, I spoke with one of our building officials, the electrical inspector, and he said, you know, generally speaking, it'd be about $3,000 to do that. But that would, I'm not 100% clear if that was hiring an independent electrician to do it,
Okay.
or if, you know, it might be
In-house.
less using in-house electrician.
Do they bring the poles in? The
Well,
power
we
company?
would come off a pole.
Yeah, but that's too far of a distance, or do you think? Going to that barn?
I think it'd be, I
Think
don't
it'd
know.
be all right?
I don't know, I don't think they'd have to do an additional pole. If they
Okay.
did, it's on them, because it's the code,
Okay, it would be. All right.
you know, for the span, the length of the
Eversource
span.
is not charging us for the line, right?
Okay, good.
Could there be another option of being self-sufficient with like 6 solar panels on the south side of the roof of the barn?
I don't know enough about the technology, you know, the battery, you would need batteries as well.
yeah.
I don't know enough about the technology
Okay.
for that, we'd have to speak to.
I mean, it's definitely doable. I'm just not sure if the initial cost minus the rebates that are in play now, and there could be who knows, there could be a grant. But it would be nice to reflect that the town is thinking, you know, more self-sufficient instead of relying on the grid, that this is kind of like an oasis in itself.
We may violate, remember, we keep everybody, when we bring this up, that violation
With the
of our
Tesla
current
thing,
contract.
but it's
Yeah,
not a,
yeah.
no. Yeah, Mona would have to look into that, but, I
We
mean,
talked about putting on the schools. and
yeah, I mean,
those
that's a
seem to
big
be
thing.
fun.
I'm
Yeah, that's
thinking maybe
bigger, yeah.
six panels hooking into a battery. I mean, how much power are you really gonna need?
There's not,
if they
you're
can
running a
store it.
pump, well, you're only running a pump if we went with a well, so basically it's
Right.
just
And
the
some-
fixtures in the bathroom and some lights
Lights, Right.
in the building.
Right,
As it moves forward, the use may expand. You know, I don't know. I don't know how much those batteries can provide for.
How much they hold, and for how long, all that kind of
Right,
stuff.
right.
yeah.
What the,
I mean, houses use them for,
Yeah, is that something you
goes
could
up.
look into, or?
yeah,
something you
I'd
could look
make
into?
notes to, try to estimate what we would need
Yeah.
for power, and then try to get an idea on some of these batteries. I'll speak with our inspectors that
Okay.
may have, you know, they've been involved with them at residents' houses, and what people are using these days.
Yeah, it's good. Good idea.
Well, then we save money on the electrical panel, right? So what you spend on the electrical, you spend on the solar battery, whatever. you
Right.
know, So,
you get an idea how much you would spend monthly, then you could factor in, you know, return on investment. If it's 8 to 10 years, then it's well worth it.
Good thought.
It's not the electrical cost, it's all the additional costs on the bill that I would be concerned with.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
You guys, any questions about electrical? All right. Check out the garden plot areas that you designed for us.
After your last meeting, Steve spoke with me and said that the recommendation from the meeting was for 12 raised beds, 3 foot by 8 foot, 35 10 by 20 flush beds, and 42, or these numbers might not have been exactly what you said, but I maxed it out basically with the size of the beds that you were looking for, 10 by 20 and 15 by 15. So on the 15 by 15, we had 42. That's a total number of plots of 89. With the raised beds along the, that line with the triangles shown there is the wetland line. And we're basing this on the wetland line, and what I don't have on here, we haven't surveyed it, is where the actual tree line is out there. So we might need to creep it back or, you know, start with less plots. But I put the raised beds on the northerly edge because of the tree line to the south there. That you wouldn't get much light if you put any on the south side of that opening. And then we have the 10 by 20 plush beds in the middle with the 15 by 15 all on the eastern edge. Stayed, for most of it, stayed approximately 10 feet off the wetland line.
Okay.
You know, agriculture is permitted right up to the wetland line, but again, I don't know how much the tree line has crept out into that field since it was last tilled and everything else.
Yep.
I've got a question. So is there room for expansion? What happens if we have 200 residents that are
That's
interested?
pretty much maxed out there, unless we got rid of the aisles and, you know, pull it together and you can pick up a few more, but that's pretty maxed out right there.
Is that wetland area wet, or is that the, is that, it's not the review area?
The northern portion doesn't seem to be as wet as the southern part, because there's that intermittent water course down there, and there's the
Yeah.
pond on the other side.
Because to me, it seems like there's still room to the east that something needs to be done with. It needs to be maintained or
Well, you're
expand
thinking
your.
up closer to the road.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's a separate field. That could be a potential expansion area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Up there, and our guys mowed most of that earlier this year. I don't think they've been back to it yet, but we're trying to keep that from growing over.
That'll just, grow into
That's
brush.
the area up here above the wetland line.
Correct. Yep.
That would be the next area.
Possible expansion.
Yeah, I don't know. We may have, I'd have to check our testing on that, what
Right.
we had. But I don't recall any issues over there. There was one bulldozer and a couple water tanks over there, and that was about it.
Check the arsenic levels as well, when we, you know, if we get to that point, looking up that area, thoroughly check it all out.
Dave, was there talk, I know people look at New Road as the entrance, but is New Britain Avenue, if they wanted to get closer to the beds, you know, towards the eastern side, is that an option for them to come in on New Britain Avenue?
Possibly in the
Yes,
future.
there's-
I think there may be a curb cut there further down, grown over.
Okay.
If there's a curb cut already, we would use that. If not, we would have to get a curb cut approved by the state.
Got it.
The slope isn't too bad. I'm not sure right at the road. Might be like a 3 or 4 foot drop in some places, you know, somewhat significant slope, so we'd have to, you know.
Yeah, the only reason I mention that is I know after the first year of people using it, coming in through New Road, they're going to start thinking, well, is there an easier way to, you know?
I think the, part of that issue is on the Britain Avenue, we wanted to keep those those gates locked.
Right.
I mean, unless
Right.
somebody would open them and close
'Cause there's
them,
a gate
unlock
there
them.
now, right?
Yeah, and that one's locked. And they were planning on that was just emergency access if need be. But I know you guys are talking, there is another curb cut down the way. If it,
We would probably have, at least at a minimum, an emergency one there should an ambulance have to get in there or so, you know.
Right.
Or EMS.
So is that curb cut between the plaza and the house? That's the one you're talking about? Not the gate, the lit. I know where the
yes.
lock gate one is.
yeah,
You know,
it is, correct. There's one further down the Britain Avenue going towards Sonny's Farms.
and it's between the existing house and the plaza? There's an existing house there across from Sunny Farms.
Correct, yeah.
Is it that far down?
Well, there is one down that way as well, but,
This one's
Yeah, I think
closer to the barn.
Yeah,
There is
I think
another
there's
one
a
up
couple
top.
in there.
Well, I know the one right by the barn. That has the gate now.
there's another one.
Okay.
Kind
Another one in the middle,
There's
Okay,
actually
so what is
two.
this? What is this little block here?
That's one of the old foundations.
Where the barn, whole barn
Okay, so that's
was.
not a, okay.
No, it's not a building, that's
okay.
the old foundation.
Okay, okay, thank you.
We saved, I think it was a dairy, the bottom of a dairy barn.
Yeah. I think, you know, for the first year,
Yeah,
let's run with what we can get going. And like, maybe down the road, if we need a road through there or something. Like you're saying, maybe the people will say, hey, is there a better way to get here?
Even if we have an excuse ready to say, well, no, that's
I mean,
just for an
it's-
emergency.
It's not that big of a deal for approval from the state, because
Yeah.
the sight line is good in that. We may have to,
Sure.
you know, trim some trees out by the road. The only issue would be the fill coming in off that slope. If, you know, we'd have to look at
The pitch.
the best place to do it. which is probably where those curb cuts are already, and that
Right.
would be even better.
You guys happy with the layout of the gardens, the plots?
Yeah, it looks good.
Well, the one thing, now that we're talking through this, that seems like the parking, back to the initial talk about parking, I think we solved some of it near the barn. But is there any parking down that towards the community where the raised beds?
No, there isn't right now. One option may be to do some parking over the capped area, that, we call it the snail area, that light outline there.
Yeah,
Where we put fill over the natural arsenic there, we could use that for parking.
That'd be ideal.
I was
Be
just thinking,
closer.
because that is a, I don't know what people would bring in there, in terms of supplies and
Sure.
plants, whatever.
Or you have an option, or a policy of, people can go down there and drop
Drop
stuff off.
Yeah,
and-
drop off, like a 5-minute park.
Right.
10-minute park, yeah.
That's good.
Well, do we have do we have dirt,
These are the old roads that were there. They're somewhat grown
so there's
over,
some-
but
okay. But they're easily brought back.
yeah, I mean, we'd have to put something on them because, Tony, he would spin his tires in the mud going, or he was on a tractor that could get through it. If somebody wants to go down there in a Subaru, it might be a little different.
Gotcha.
So we would have to put some processed stone or something over it.
Could make it work.
Yeah,
Good.
all within the town.
Yeah, it's-
Yeah.
Did you follow up on the raised beds possibly?
I just followed up with him again.
Okay.
I know he needs to talk to the secretary to kind of work all the details out, but
Great,
we'll get it done.
thanks.
We'll get it
Yeah,
done.
good. Any other questions anybody has about this? All right, I don't believe there's any other business. So we'll be good for a motion to
I
adjourn.
make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Have a good night, everybody.